space. And then we'll have a sharing from Wei Han, who's been part of the hackathon by SNARKnet to do a bit of sharing of what they've done. And so to kick things off, can I get Asfar to come and share a bit of the monthly roundup? Please give him a round of applause.
Excuse me, guys. Very professional. All right. So, everyone, good evening. Every person nak kena Regina, I saw just now. All right. So, to the roundup. So, since our last meetup was around 3 weeks ago, so we don't have as much to share this time. All right. So, one of the first things that we want to share is Starbucks launches its beta for Web3 loyalty program. And if you are an avid Starbucks drinker, you know they have like a card, a very cool Starbucks card, a lot of potential there. And it's called Starbucks Odyssey. Unfortunately, it's only in the US. So unless you have friends over there or you plan to go there soon, maybe you can participate in it. And it's also linked to their own current loyalty program, so it is not a separate initiative. So it'll be interesting to see whether this will be a working collaboration between Web3 and Web2 loyalty program. So next, Stripe launches embeddable fiat to crypto on-ramp. So Stripe is really big. It is payment gateway technology which is used by a lot of people. And now it is supporting fiat to crypto, and it is already being used by Audius, Argent, and I forgot one more. And now it's open to everyone. And if you use on-chain stuff, you definitely know if you want to convince your friend to put their money from Luno to Ethereum or any layer 2s, it's a long conversation, right? So thankfully, Stripe is here. Hopefully that conversation now will be easier to onboard your fiat to your crypto. And probably one of the more bigger story, MetaMask updated its privacy policy. So now they will be starting to collect IP addresses. Though this is not new, I mean, it is a normal for web application to actually store users' IP addresses. But specifically, maybe for the crypto space, we are more aware, very strong towards privacy. So hence the backlash or the reaction to this are pretty strong. So I've linked here a very useful CoinGecko article on what does it mean to you, and are there any things that you can do to preserve your privacy at the same time, still use MetaMask. So you can definitely about this later, or you can ask Kim from Gecko. As much as, at least for me, try to avoid getting stressed over FTX, it just wouldn't be able to shake off. So FTX founder SBF has just been arrested in Bahamas, and I think it was a day before the new CEO John Ray was testifying in Congress. So it's very, so I guess this issue won't be going anytime soon. So do expect more news on this. And also another FTX news, so the block CEO resigned for undisclosed loan from FTX. If I'm not mistaken, they now have a new leadership team. Here is some of the tweets. So basically, in early 2021, the CEO did take up some loan from FTX and did not disclose this to anyone in the leadership team. So some local roundup news, not really a news. But then yesterday, one of our member, Harif, was on BFM Live, talking about SBF, and so it was a session covered by BFM, and then they also had some calls, some tweets from online talking about SBF, and Harry was there for like around 15 minutes, 20 minutes sharing his thoughts. So if you are curious, do check it out, because all of the interviews on BFM are uploadable and can listen in as a podcast. And I think they're on Spotify as well. And lastly, so Access Blockchain Association announces partnership with Bybit. So now Bybit will tap on Access vast events, vast event networks, communities here in Malaysia, and it is one of the first sponsorship arrangement for Bybit in Malaysia. So that's all that I have for now. And back to you, Harif.
All right, thanks, Asfar. Hello. Thanks, Asfar. Cool. So one quick announcement, other than the roundup stuff, is that this SNARKnet Malaysia meetup, where one of the things that you will do Han to share a little bit about the project that he's been working on for.
Okay. All right. Hi everyone. So I will just be here a very short while just to share about what we'll be sharing during the Saturday event, just a quick teaser. So before that, just to introduce myself, hi, my name is Rehan. I'm very new to this space. In fact, I only joined Web3 space about 3 months ago. I just graduated from Monash University studying Bachelor of Computer Science about a month ago. Yeah. So right now, completely pivoted to Web3 and really thanks for me. Just to again share about my personal journey, I guess, throughout these 3 months. I think, yeah, the past 3 months, there have been 3 hackathons. And thankfully, through the 3 hackathons, all of the hackathons managed to at least went into the finalists and won some bounty prizes, or even one of the first one is like first. So still very excited and very amazing to be standing on this stage. So just to share more about the project that we'll be sharing during the Saturday is that basically it's an encode_x_SNARK hackathon. So for my project, I work with very closely with Vincent, Marcus as well. Marcus is from NUS as well as Ryan to build the project, and our team actually won one of the award for the hackathon, and there's also another team from ETH, which is Kim's team. They actually won the 3rd prize during the hackathon, so very amazing performance by ETH. So for our project specifically, we are actually utilizing SNARK to build an on-chain data aggregator. So it's a very interesting use case by utilizing L2 SNARK as a solution. So yeah, if you guys are interested to know more, please come to the event this Saturday and can't wait to share more to you guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rehan. And can I get Asfa here? All right, awkward silence. Asfa, can you come to the front for a little bit? Because the slides Regina sent via Telegram, so please open it on the laptop. Yeah. Just to the screen. I don't know. It's on purpose. Okay, and how many people here know of Mina Protocol? Okay, everyone got their tokens? Maybe not. Mina token, first page of and who's developing on like zk blockchains, like done smart contracts on zk protocols? Can I get a raise of hands? I think there's a lot more than that, right?
Okay.
No?
Awesome.
And without further ado, let's get Regina, who is a developer relations engineer at O1 Labs, who are stewarding Mina Protocol, to do a quick introduction for us about what it is. Please give her a round of applause.
Oh, thank you so much. Just hold on. I'll hold on to it. Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry I was running late. There's a lot of traffic. Today I'll be giving a talk called Zero Knowledge, Smart Contracts, and Mina Protocol. And first I'll introduce a little bit about myself. My name is Regina. I'm based in Chicago and Detroit. I graduated from U of M, started coding in 2015. Previously to O1 Labs, I worked at Coinbase and Zeppelin, the design software, not the crypto. And now I do developer relations at O1 Labs. And I'm on Twitter, if you guys want to connect. So just want to quickly explain what O1 Labs is. Not too many people know about O1. I think like a group of you know what Mina is, but O1 is one of the ecosystem partners at Mina Protocol. We're mostly engineers, and we are the team that incubated the protocol. We work on things like, we still work on the protocol, we work on Snarky.js, which I'll talk about a little bit later. We work on zk-apps, which I'll also talk about, and we work on the Kimchi proof system. And PS, we're hiring, and these are all my coworkers. So today my talk's going to be on, it's going to be like an introductory talk about zero knowledge proofs, about Mina Protocol, zk-apps, which is our zero knowledge smart contracts, and I'll also talk a little bit about like the next steps on how to write a zero knowledge smart contract, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So what are zero knowledge proofs? How many of you, I'm gonna raise again. How many of you are familiar with zero-knowledge proofs or heard of it? Just curious. Okay, cool, like half the group. Nice. So zero-knowledge proofs are this really powerful innovation in cryptography. It makes it possible for one person to be able to have a secret and prove that they know the secret without revealing it to anyone else. That's kind of the general description of what it is. In reality, it's like very, very complicated. It's a lot of math. It's something that, something that I wouldn't be able to explain, but from this definition, that's usually how I think about it. And I think that's all that really matters for this talk, where for most of us. Some history, it was invented in 1985, which I thought was quite interesting. So it's actually been around for a while, but it's actually getting really, really popular now. There was a tweet that came out, I think back in last year, September, where Vitalik basically said that it was going to be going to really change the world. And during DevCon, I'm not sure if any of you were there, but he talked about ZK quite a bit, and I've been feeling like, people, it's getting popular. It's a very popular topic, and quite a few people are interested in it. So quickly, any questions so far? If not, I will move forward. I'm going to stop. Okay, cool, nice. Thank you. So thanks to zero-knowledge proof, that's how Mina was born. So zero-knowledge proofs have been around for a while, and a few years ago, a bunch of co-founders, Isaac and Evan, decided that they wanted to be able to create something that takes advantage of zero-knowledge proofs. It's called Mina. So what is Mina? So Mina is a layer 1 blockchain built on zero-knowledge proofs. We get this question a lot. People ask, oh, is it like a layer 2 on Ethereum? It's actually its own thing, which is quite fun, I think. It's fun to be part of a layer 1. And how we came about is a lot of other blockchains are currently huge in size. If you want to download Bitcoin, Ethereum, you need like a supercomputer, and it doesn't look like any of us brought that here today. And so that's kind of a huge problem, and that's kind of how Mina came about. With Mina, it's only 22 kilobytes in size, and that's amazing because you can basically, essentially, verify the whole blockchain on your phone or any basic computer, maybe even your iPad. So that's really, really exciting. And it's able to do that thanks to zero-knowledge proofs, or zk-SNARKs, which is one of the types of zero-knowledge proofs. And the way I would describe how Mina works is it's kind of like you're taking a picture of a picture of a picture, whereas the picture is really just the whole ledger. And instead of like, with Bitcoin right now, instead of just like copying every single transaction in and the file growing larger in size, with Mina, you're just taking a small snapshot and repeating it over and over again. So as a result, what makes Mina really cool is that it's really fast to verify, small in size, all those things up there: secure, decentralized, scalable, very buzzy words. So Mina makes it possible for everyone to participate in consensus and have a pretty high degree of decentralization. And this is definitely something that a lot of people, especially in Ethereum, are thinking about at the moment. So I guess no questions so far. That was a very quick overview. If you want to know more about Mina, there's like our website and white papers there. But I just recommend checking out tutorials or going to meetups like this to learn about Mina. So let's move on to zero-knowledge smart contracts on Mina, which is what I am most excited about. It's also short for zk-apps. Oh, sorry, this is what I just said. If you want to learn more about Mina, check out this website. Questions? No? Okay. Cool. Okay, zk-apps. Sorry, the ordering of that was not ideal. So zk-apps stand for zero-knowledge apps, and they are Mina Protocol's smart contracts. And this is really exciting because if the best analogy I can think about is comparing to Ethereum dApps. With Ethereum, every time you are doing any kind of computation, it happens on chain. And so as a result, running a smart contract can be quite expensive depending on what it does. And anytime you make changes to it or like you're interacting with it, it's taking up a transaction. And this can get really expensive over time or even initially. With Mina, what's really cool is a lot of the computation can happen off-chain, and what's only happening is, the only thing that's happening on-chain is they're verifying the proof from your smart contract. So the TLDR is, instead of like if you have a very, very complicated smart contract, it's okay because all you're really doing is sending a small proof to Mina instead of like something very, very complicated. And it makes all the transactions like constant time. So yeah, with that in mind, it's kind of exciting for smart contracts as you can kind of think about the most complicated thing you ever want to build and you can make this happen. And kind of like what I explained, it keeps blockchain succinct. It's also, because things are happening, computations are happening off-chain, you can actually work with data and keep it private. It's also very efficient because a lot of the computations you're just sending a small proof to the network, and so everything will cost the same and take about the same amount of time. So one of the most common questions we get is, what can you do with Mina smart contracts or zero-knowledge smart contracts in general? It doesn't even have to be just Mina. And there's a lot of potential here. I think the one that comes to mind for me that I think would be really cool would be able to prove things, like prove that you're a certain age and you can get to a bar without revealing exactly when your birthday is, or proving the amount of money you have in your bank account without revealing the exact amount. There's a lot of really good opportunities for DAO voting or voting in general. In real-world applications that are like sharing medical data, anything that's really sensitive, that's where zero knowledge has a lot of potential and use cases there. And for smart contracts, these are just some ideas that might be helpful for you. Oh, of course, zk-rollups. That's definitely a very hot topic that people like and are working on. I think there's a few people at O1 working on zk-rollups or in the community. So if any of you are interested in that, please let me know. So any questions so far? Good? Okay. Cool. So how does this all work and how do you write ZK apps? So just want to backtrack a little bit. So I mentioned earlier, ZK apps is the zero-knowledge smart contract on Mina. In reality, like we use that just generally, we use it interchangeably, but really how ZK apps work and how it helps me figure out or see like how everything works is ZK apps is really a smart contract and a UI on top of it. So when you have this, just keep this in mind that this is really what a ZK app is, but I do sometimes just use smart contracts, ZK apps interchangeably. So how does this all work? I outlined like a process. So when a developer creates a ZK app project and writes a code for the smart contract and deploys it, two things happen. Firstly, a smart contract is created itself, and then a verification key is generated and sent in a transaction to the Mina network. 3, the developer will build a UI for it, and that's where this last picture came in. Whoops. Actually, UI is not super necessary, but that's just something, it has to happen at some point. So the user would input, the users that are using your smart contract would enter in the data and interact with the smart contract. And when you're interacting with the smart contract, you're sending a transaction which contains a tiny proof to the Mina, to your Mina account. And if the proof is valid, Mina will accept it and make any necessary state changes. Yeah, this is a very simplified explanation of how this works, but this is like how I would describe how ZK app works. Does any of this part, any questions about this so far? If not, we can talk about it at the end. Cool. ZK apps are written in TypeScript using the SNARKs, which is a library developed by O1 Labs. And what's really cool about working with, what's really cool about writing ZK apps is we use a lot of the same technology that you're familiar with. Firstly, it's TypeScript, which means if you're familiar with JavaScript, it's pretty comfortable to jump into. It's not super difficult. We're using NPM, lint, prettier, and really good VS Code support. So yeah, I think most developers are familiar with that, and that's kind of one of the main things that we cared about when figuring out how to design a smart contract for Mina. We also built something called a ZK app CLI, which is a tool for us to be able to generate a ZK app pretty easily. And the commands there are pretty simple. All you need to do is use npm, install the CLI, and then once that finishes installing, you can start building a smart contract right away by typing in zk project, the name of your project. And when you enter in this command, you'll see like some list of things you could do, like you can create a project, there's examples there, just a really, really easy way to make something as complicated as smart contracts simpler for developers. We also have a lot of docs on our website if you want to learn more about how zk-apps work. And we update this like pretty much every week, so please check it. Any questions at this point? No? Okay, cool. So what does a zk-app smart contract look like? I'm going to dive in a little bit into the code and show you exactly what's going on, because I feel like that's also quite interesting and fun to look at. So I explained earlier that there's something that we've developed called zk-app CLI. What you would do basically to write and build a smart contract is type in zk project and name your project whatever you want it to call. And when you do this, what happens is a directory is created with a bunch of files that makes it possible for you to write the smart contract. You could test it. It also has a few files there that can help you build a UI. And one of the files that comes with every project is a basic example. The example that comes with every project is an add contract. And basically, what this contract does is it's adding something to something. And I'm saying something to something because it's not exactly a number. It's actually a variable we're calling a number that we put on we're putting it on our Mina account. But anyway, so this is basically what a smart contract looks like. Some things to keep in mind is, as I said, all the code is written in TypeScript, and it uses the zk-SNARKs library. I don't know if you guys can see that, it's quite tiny, but these are like the main characteristics of a smart contract. Not too bad, right? It's like 19 lines of code for a very, very basic smart contract. So just reminding, zk-SNARKs, it's a TypeScript library for writing zero-knowledge proofs. It actually comes automatically with every project when you download, when you create a new project using the Mina zk-app CLI. So the TLDR is, I kind of glossed this over a little bit, but zk-SNARKs is kind of amazing because, working with zero-knowledge proofs, as I mentioned, is a lot of math. It's very complicated. You have to make sure, most people, I think, without, a strong math background may not be able to figure out what's going on entirely. And the beauty of zk-SNARKs is that it takes all that complex math stuff and makes it easy for you to write zero-knowledge proofs. So definitely it's a very cool product. So let's dive back into the smart contract. So just wanted to break down some of the components of it in case that would be helpful or interesting to all of you. It certainly was for me. So the first line up at the top is an import statement. And that gives you an idea of what zk-SNARKs is like. As you can see, there's a lot of functions and types. There's a field that's pretty much every smart contract will have field imported, and that's our native type, in zk-SNARKs. We also have the smart contract class, and that's what makes it even possible to write zero-knowledge proofs in the first place. And then some other, there's method, state, but you could dive into this in your own time. But just wanted to show that's where zk-SNARKs comes in. The full zk-SNARKs reference can be found on Mina docs. The second part is the smart contract. So as I mentioned, you will be using the smart contract class to write a smart contract in the first place. And our smart contract is going to be called add. And in this line, basically what we're doing is we're creating a on-chain state. Something interesting about zk-apps is you can have up to 8 fields worth of on-chain state. And so you can essentially have this written 8 times with 8 different variables. But in this example, we're just using one of them. And that's a typo, but so basically, before you get started, you have to initialize a smart contract, and that's where this function comes in, and it comes with a smart contract class. And when you deploy your smart contract, this function, and it will only be initialized once. And right here, it's saying this .number set bracket field is saying that we're setting the num variable to 1. And then now this is the fun part, that there is a method defined as update, and this is basically the method that users can interact with. And when users run the update method, they're able to add, there's an add here, add 2 to none. So every time the user runs update, it'll add 2 to 1. And let's see, what's interesting about this? So when you use the update method, the add add contract adds field to the num contract state. So from a crypto standpoint, anytime there is like a method being used, it's really creating a circuit. And basically, when you think about a smart contract, it's just basically a bunch of circuits combined together. And when this is done, they're sending like a small proof and a small proof to the Mina account. And yeah, basically, that's kind of the key components of a smart contract, if that makes sense. Oh, also, when let's say a user hits update and sends a proof to the Mina network will check it, and if the proof is good, then it passes and the state will update. But let's say like someone's trying to do something malicious and it's not like, I'm not sure why someone would want to, but let's say they're sending a proof that isn't like actually valid, Mina can reject it and num will stay the same at whatever it used to be. But yeah, this is kind of what's going on under the hood in a simplified explanation. So yeah, basically we've broken down what a smart contract looks like, and once you deploy a smart contract to Mina, people can start interacting with it and begin adding. Yeah, so to summarize, zk-SNARKs are awesome because they unlock a lot of great ideas and potential for different apps and services to help people's data stay private and secure. It's still like a really new space and things are constantly changing. So I encourage you take this with a grain of salt, but also take this as a starting point to learn more about not just Mina, but zero knowledge proofs in general. And I'm also around if you guys have any questions. I think that's it. So here's a few resources I want to point out. So I mentioned this quite a bit. We have docs on our website. We talk about how zk-SNARKs work, how to write it, how to deploy it. It also has there's a lot of other resources that might be very, very helpful and interesting to all of you. We have a bunch of new tutorials. I think we have 6 tutorials that are actually super easy to follow. They literally go through step by step, line by line, what you need to enter. And I recommend all of you check it out. Yeah, let's see. Some other things we have is every Wednesday, I do office hours online. So please come by and say hi. And we have some video recordings on our YouTube channel. Well, we have 2 videos now, but I'll be adding more videos later. Let's see. Yeah, questions. I'm on Telegram, Twitter, but definitely talk to me here because I'm here right now. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Regina. Who has questions? Can I get a check? All right. Quite a few
Yay, questions.
But before that, I think we always like to start the Q&A part with just getting some kind of story from you, like how you kind of fell into the rabbit hole of blockchains and cryptocurrencies. And I think you mentioned Coinbase. So whether that was your start or was it even before that, just give so that we know a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to share. That's interesting. So I actually didn't go crypto first and then worked in crypto. I started on the support team at Coinbase, and it was really exciting because when I joined, I think the only coin we had listed was Bitcoin. It was kind of the early days when we just listed Ethereum and we just listed Litecoin, and it was really exciting seeing how for me that was my approach into crypto. I was like, oh, what is this token that everyone's really caring about? Why is the price going up? What's happening? I'm just paying extra attention, and it was really, really exciting times, and it felt like things were simpler. But yeah, I was there for about 2 years, and it was pretty, it's grown to a lot bigger than I remembered. And how I ended up at Mina was actually a colleague at Coinbase that I worked with told me oh my gosh, you have to join Mina. This is going to be this. Remember the old days of Coinbase? Here it is again. And I was like, yes, I love the old days of Coinbase. So I joined, and I didn't know what zero knowledge proofs were at all. I didn't know what Mina was at all, honestly. And then after it, and it's quite a difficult topic, I feel like, for most people. No one just randomly jumps into it. I feel like with Bitcoin, Ethereum, everyone's like, oh, what's the price? I get it. But with Mina, people are like, it's more about the technology, which I really, really like, and it's really refreshing compared to when I worked at an exchange. Yeah, everyone at Mina and O1 are super smart, and they're very picky about who they want or what they want to work on. And so for me, I think I was drawn to Mina because of the culture and also the people working on it. And through them, I learned slowly, like, what are zero knowledge proof? What's so great about Mina? And also, like, yeah, we're literally building, we're literally building all the like features that you need to build a smart contract on Mina. Like as of today, like every week we've been launching new things that would help like developers do what they want to do. So yeah, yeah, it's pretty exciting times. We're still very early stages, so if you want to make a contribute to Mina, it's actually a really good time to be here, and or just in general, zero knowledge proofs. There's so many different projects out there that are really cool that I can't count. Yeah.
All right. So for other questions, do you mind just saying your name and then
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. My name is Dev,
Okay. Hi,
and
Dev.
yeah, I'm part of the ETHKL community.
Yeah.
So my questions to you, like you said, we can do awesome thing on the Mina, keeping the state private. So can you elaborate on that? Suppose I'm a user, and
Yes.
I deployed a smart contract. Sorry, I'm a developer. I deployed a smart contract, and someone is using that smart contract and is pushing the inputs to do something on the contract.
Yeah.
Where those inputs will go?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in the example I showed, the data is not private. Actually, it's on the blockchain. Actually, wait, let me think. Hold back. Yeah, that one's on chain, so it's not as private as it. Like it's probably similar to something like Ethereum. But to keep data private, you have to have off-chain storage, which is something that's another part that I didn't really talk about so much. But yeah, with Mina zk apps, you have the option of having data saved on-chain or off-chain. And the off-chain part is, I think we're still working on it at the moment, so I don't have anything to share, but that's how you would be able to keep, I guess, data private. And also another reason data is private is a lot of the smart contract is, like when the user's interacting with, they're inputting the data actually on their web browser, on their own local computer, and all that smart contract is doing is generating a small proof that's being sent to Mina, if that makes sense. And I guess that keeps it private that way because it's off, well, yeah, it's on the user's computer. It's not like, yeah.
And
Okay.
like, how zero knowledge work, like
Yeah.
we generate the proofs off chain and then send it to Mina Protocol to verify it.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
it will say whether that proof is correct or not, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if that is the case, like in Ethereum or any other protocol, we have a increasing state. Like my variable is currently 5, and I want to make it like next stage. Then the protocol should know the previous stage of the variable. Then
Yeah.
if you are not sending that variable anytime to the blockchain, how it is managing that state comparison?
Interesting. I'll need to get back to you on that. Yeah, I'll let you know. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it, but I definitely know people who can answer that question for you. But yeah, I'll chat with you after.
All right, thanks. And the next question was.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Shin Kai from ETHKL. So one question you mentioned about Mina being a succinct blockchain, right? So it's like, let's say like in a blockchain, let's say a new block is added every time. So like, could you elaborate more on how the zero knowledge catches up with the blockchain, something like that? So it's like when I'm looking like, because blockchain, like when a block is added, so it's different. So like, does the zero knowledge keeps updates as well? So it's like how so the blockchain just keeps growing. How does it maintain a succinct 22 kilobytes?
Yeah, I can't explain like the crypto part for how like zero knowledge works with Mina. But I think the best way to describe it is so every time there is a new block, I think they're taking all the transactions and creating a proof out of it, and that proof is included in the next block. And so if you wanted to be able to like dive into individual transactions, you can, there are ways you can like, decrypt the proof, or you can have, you can also run something called an archive node, which takes up a lot more space and it has all the transactions listed there. But that's as far as I understand. But yeah, hopefully, I can also send you some links and help you, direct you to that. That might explain a little bit better than I can.
All right. And I
I had one question, and so this is Hari. So obviously this is an Ethereum meetup. So the natural question I think you probably would have had from before would be there's zk EVMs that are out there. So what would be the difference between Mina's protocol and the different zk EVMs, and what would be some trade-offs or like advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, that's actually a very challenging question because I think I don't know everything that's out there at the moment. I think with Mina, I think we get a lot of questions because we're at all the ETH hackathons actually, because we find that a lot of the developers that are building on Ethereum are actually looking for a zk solution, and I know Ethereum. Yeah, there's also different things going on there. Like a big one, I think I was reading about, like Scroll is really popular. Another competitor or another big player in the space would be the people working on Starkware, I think. Yeah, that's a big one. But yeah, I can't speak too much about what the difference between all of them are at the moment. But from what I understand, there's still a need for Mina. People still see there's no good solution yet, and that's kind of where Mina is coming in. We just haven't seen a perfect solution yet for like zk EVM. But.
I guess another way of asking it would be like, why not build a zk EVM? Like, why build your own sort of zk proving language?
I'm not sure. Sorry, I can't answer that. But I will write it down and I will get back to you about that.
And related to that would be, because you mentioned earlier that some people in the team are building already zk rollups.
Yeah.
So would that be like zk rollups on top of Ethereum or on top of Mina as an L1, or like, could you describe a little bit more about how that looks like?
Yeah, there's someone in my on our team 01. Actually, his name is Florian. He's building a zk rollup. I also can't speak too much on what exactly is happening there, but it's a very needed thing for the community, and I think it is built on top of Ethereum. But it's very, very challenging because I know he's been working on it for like 3 to 4 months, maybe even longer. But yeah, I will ask him and then get back to you.
I'd like to ask, is there a way, I remember reading somewhere, is there a way for Mina Protocol to communicate with ETH? I remember there's some work on it. Mina Protocol to communicate with Ethereum.
Oh, not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
That's also a very common feature to have. I know there's some. I think the reason behind it, there's still some crypto work that needs to go behind the scene for that to happen. But I know it's a very common question, and people really want that, but not at the moment. And I think if we are able to Mina talk to Ethereum, that would be a huge game changer because it'll make it more useful for everyone too. And you could use a lot of like some of the project ideas that people have for zk apps is like building a DEX, and if we can make that happen, that'll be way more popular, I think. But yeah.
Are there any work on this now, or still exploratory? Is it still exploratory state or not much exploration?
Definitely exploratory stage right now. There's people looking into it, and actually Mina Foundation has, if you have any ideas where you want to work on something or investigate something a little bit further, Mina Foundation has a lot of grants if anyone's interested in that, and we're at a point where we're like, if you want to work on something, please talk to us, and we want to support you in whatever way we can. But yeah.
Last question is, yeah. So I saw in the slide that the whole blockchain size is 400K.
Yeah.
Very small.
Yeah.
So that means anyone can run a full node even on a mobile. Is it correct statement?
Yes, that is correct.
It's possible?
Yeah, it is very possible. I think there's someone who is, yeah. Actually, I don't know the status of that. But yeah, theoretically, you're supposed to be able to run Mina on any computer. And it is possible. Like I know there are people running a full node on your regular MacBook or laptops, which is kind of incredible because I definitely don't have the computer or ability to.
Is there an incentive for people to run those nodes like Ethereum miners? Is there an incentive for the people running the node?
What do you mean, like running?
Like suppose I run a Ethereum as an Ethereum miner, I get ETH. If my node, my block gets selected in the blockchain.
Yeah.
So in that way.
There is a program, we have something called the delegation program. I don't know, is there something like that in Ethereum? Probably not. But basically, yeah, if you are a block producer and you keep your uptime like very, very high, if you're the top like there's a program, you're the top 120, keeping your node the highest score, you actually can receive a small delegation and keep a bit of the rewards. That's how some block producers, I guess, earn rewards, earn Mina tokens. So yeah, I actually work on that. So if you want to get involved, please talk to me. Yeah. Yeah, and anyone has any questions, maybe I'll be around. And oh, one more.
I think we have time for a few more.
Okay, sounds good. Oh my gosh.
No pressure.
Please keep it. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
You also mentioned that there's 22 KB for the entire blockchain.
Yes, the 22 kilobytes is not for the archive node. The archive node is a little bit bigger, and the only reason you would
To be
Yeah.
chain.
yeah,
But at the
exactly.
same time, from Mina scan, you can see every block number.
Yeah.
So the blockchain is technically increasing. But using zk proof to prove that there was a past, like everything that happened in the past exists just through zk proof.
Yeah, exactly. Is that your question? Or
Isn't there a security concern? When anything goes wrong, you want to check back through everything in the past, right?
wait, can you repeat?
When anything goes wrong in the past, you want
Yeah.
to check back.
Yeah, you can still check that. And I think you're talking about Mina Explorer, right? I think
Yeah.
Mina Explorer uses the archive node to pull that list of all the past transactions, and you can also do it yourself too. So that's that's a question. Like, can you also check that yourself?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. And so you mentioned just now like running codes and being centralized. Is that
Mina uses proof of stake and uses Ouroboros from Cardano.
Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more
Okay.
to us, like very high level,
Yeah.
how that differs from other proof of stake mechanisms.
Okay. I also can't, sorry, these are very, very challenging questions. Yeah, I can't really talk too much about Ouroboros. But yeah, we're proof of stake, and my understanding is Ouroboros is developed by the O1 team / Mina team. And if you want to learn more, please, we have a really great YouTube video where the developers behind it can talk a little bit more about that. So I actually, if you're interested in that proof system, I recommend checking the YouTube video and watching that for now, if that makes sense.
All right, and so there are non-developers here as well, and very curious users of blockchain apps. So would you be able to sort of give some examples of some of the more like popular or more interesting dApps that are using Mina, so that people here can kind of dabble with those dApps?
Yeah, actually, at this point, we only have testnet available for deploying a zk app at the moment. So there isn't like exactly a zk app that's out right now. One of you can potentially create it. And I'm trying to think of some interesting ones. So this past year, we had something called the Builders Program, which is a 12-week program where we invite developers to come build a zk app and pick an idea of their own choosing. And that just wrapped up 2 weeks ago. And I can share like some of the ideas that came out of, and they are deployed to testnet. People can play around with some of them. We got a couple developers building blind chess, which is quite interesting. Blind chess is like a chess game where you can only, I think you can't see the whole board. You can only see kind of like a few moves, or like the squares among the pieces, around that, something like that. Yeah, I've never played blind chess. Regular chess is already challenging. Yeah, let's see. There was a developer, she built a pretty fun game. She built this like treasure hunting game where to play the game, you have to find location. It's kind of like Pokemon Go. There's like, you go to certain locations, and when you're at the right location, it sends a zero knowledge proof to the smart contract that she built, and that's how you win the game. You just like kind of go around different locations and keep sending proofs. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is interesting. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. All the developers that did the program, they all had different backgrounds, and which meant they all care about different things. Like there is a professor that was part of our program, and he's interested in machine learning. So one thing that he is keeping, it's not possible at the moment, but he's keeping an eye out for the ability to do machine learning with zk apps. But it's still very early stages. But just like these are just things that, it's still the beginning. That's my point, I guess.
Okay, and we have time for maybe a couple last questions. All right. Hi.
Hello.
The end user would need access to the means to call certain functions on the smart contract.
So you're talking about from the perspective of a user using the zk app. Right now, zk apps, I guess the thing is the UI is actually going to be a web browser. So the user, as long as the user has Chrome or Safari installed, and one of the wallets, like the wallet that right now zk apps is supported with is called Oral Wallet, and I think that's the only requirement for users to really interact with a zk app. Is that your question? Okay.
If a user doesn't know how to reach the developer's website,
Yeah.
you can't go through the interactive contract like how you would to the send, for example.
Oh, are you asking like how they can check to see?
How they
Yeah.
can check.
For example, on this can you able to contract,
Yeah.
write a contract without having to go to the website. Let's say the website is down or
Uh,
blocked from accessing that website by some government, then like is there something like that you don't know that is going to be used?
I don't think so at the moment. I think right now we're just starting to make it possible to check for like your right now the stage where we're at is like we're working on making it possible for you to see the status of your smart contract on Mina Explorer. That's where we're at, but it's not possible. I don't think it's possible to interact with, it sounds like you want to interact with a Mina Explorer with the smart contract. Yeah, I don't think that's possible at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My question is, since some of the data will be off-chain and there will be like, I assume, a database for it, how does this actually play part with decentralization and things like that? Yeah.
Your question, let me understand, is you're asking how having the data off-chain leads
Yeah.
to decentralization? Huh. I've never had that question before. I'm trying to think. I think the off-chain part isn't really focused on decentralization. That part, I think what people care about is the privacy aspect. Yeah, I'm not super sure. I need to think a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. And another thing is, what's the next steps for Mina, and like, is there any milestone that we should keep an eye out?
Oh yeah, that's actually a really good question. Yeah, so right now it's possible to launch a smart contract on our testnet, and we're like definitely pushing for that. There's a lot of programs happening, and the next step is to make it possible for everyone to run zk apps on mainnet. So that's the next step, and that should be happening sometime next year, TBD, but look out for that. But between then and now, we've been working like pretty hard on adding features to zk apps. Like there was a lot of people who, a lot of the developers in our builders program, they were just like, oh, we can't do this. And then as soon as they told us, we're like, all right, we're gonna work on this and add certain things that they need. Yeah, and I think the things to look out for is really cool zk app ideas. I think we're still at a point where we're like, ooh, what are some cool things that we can build using zero knowledge proofs, smart contracts, and those are kind of like the hot topics. So, and you don't need to be a developer to work on that. Just have a really interesting use case and yeah, present it maybe during a hackathon or just to someone on the Mina team.
All right, I think one last question for me, and I think I'm asking on behalf of a bunch of people here. So there's a group of very active developers in the space who got joining hackathons and like, going for grants and stuff like that. So, like, are there any like grants that they can apply for, or like kind of courses or projects that they can take, and kind of in a way like excel there and niche for themselves in this new sort of ZK protocol of Mina.
Yeah, I think this is a really fun stage where like everyone feels like it's still a good time to be like an early developer in the space. And yeah, with Mina, there are grants every quarter that you can apply for, and it's just like application. Trying to think what else. Yeah, we're at all the ETH hackathons. So yeah, usually I'm there or my colleagues are there, and that's also a good way to really learn about how to write a ZK app. Yeah, those are the main things, I think. Oh, there's also a ZK hack that was happening. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but that's a really cool program. Yeah, they have a lot of really fun competitions and conferences, and that's really good space as well. And all the ZK projects are there, so that is a place to be seen and to see what's going on.
All right, thanks, Regina. Let's give her a round of applause.
We have a lot of time afterwards. You can come up to Regina and talk to her, ask her more sort of questions, like maybe on a more individual level.
Yeah.
And as mentioned at the start of the meetup, there's an open tab for ordering drinks until 9:15 or 9:20 p.m. So don't wait too long if you want to get it. And we'll also be serving pizza after this thing has ended. And we'll be here until at least 10 p.m. So please feel free to chill out, hang out and talk to other people. Matt's here from Etherscan, so if anyone hasn't met him, say hi. We try as well. And please feel free to just hang out, eat and drink and be merry. Thanks everyone.